you stare at this wall all the time, and you're 2 wins away from that destination. Has it sunk in that you are this close, and maybe this time with a realistic shot that you may not have had before?
You know, I was thinking about this earlier. You know, in 2016, when I was at Mississippi State, we were in a super. So we did a super in 16, 17, help me out, 23 and 24. And each time I really believed that we were going to win and go. I don't think as a coach you don't get this far and don't think you have a realistic or unrealistic chance. I would think that all 16 teams that are, you know, fighting for these 8 spots to go there, that we all feel good about our teams. But does that mean it's easy? No. No, there's going to be a lot of work, and it'll be an absolute war this weekend. But thankful that we're at home. I do know that. Thankful that we have a chance to do it here as opposed to having to do it on someone else's field.
Nick, with Travis, and I don't know how to say his last name, coming, you're going to have faced probably the top 3 hitters in the draft at some point this season. You talked last week about not letting those guys beat you. What does the strategy have to be?
Yeah, so we continue to watch video on him. He is a super talented player, and he is not only does he have the ability to hit for power, but he can absolutely fly. So this is a little different than maybe some of the other guys, to where if you just walk him, there's no threat of the stolen base. It's going to take a double to score him, you know, or maybe a triple to score him. This guy is super, super talented on so many levels, and his speed is one of the things that changes the game for him, because just because you put him on first base in one pitch, he could be on second base, and it's like you just gave up a double. So we'll have to be really careful and continue to watch video of what's the best way to attack him.
How similar and different are you with Oregon State in the lineup?
You know, after watching them, there is a lot of similar characteristics. You know, they have the ability to steal bases, they have the ability to hit home runs, they hit for average. It is a team filled of guys up and down their lineup that know how to work and manage their way through at-bats, very similar to us.
Brian Hagan now was a guy who was the 2nd highest ranked recruit you all had ever signed. When he got here, he thought he was going to be the ace of the future. His career has gone differently than that. What does it say about him that he's found ways to contribute maybe differently than you anticipated when he got here, especially with the leadership and all the stuff in the dugout?
Yeah, Ryan is competitive and cares as much about this program as anybody on this team, and he's been a guy that's been here for 4 years. He has seen the continual rise of our program. He's watched it, and he has been a major piece to it. And Ryan has had a couple injuries that have kind of set him back some, and to his credit, what has he done every time? It just keeps coming back and back and back and back and back. And I can tell you this, you look at what he's been able to do on the field for us, just look at his numbers. It's been unbelievable. But maybe just as unbelievable is the type of person. And you guys know the story from a year ago. We were at Southern Illinois, and we were not happy with the way the team was competing. And I basically gave him the keys to the Lexus. I'm good friends with my buddy Rick Avar at Lexus. So I gave him the keys to the Lexus, okay? And just basically told him, this is yours. You driving this dugout, it is yours. And by the way, it's a really smooth ride. But hey, this is your dugout. From now on, I am not getting upset with anybody in this dugout. It falls on your shoulders. Do you understand? He's like, yes, sir. And I'm like, look at that. And so really from that day on, if we need anything, if any of our coaches, if anything, I just go to him. And he literally runs that dugout. So not only is he like performing on the field, think about the impact he's making in the dugout. Like, I'll look over and there's something on my mind. I'm like, can you find me Hags? And he'll come over. And same thing with the other coaches. It's like, hey, we need to remind the guys about, it doesn't matter what. It could be as simple as the turf is wet. We got to slide a tad earlier. Make sure you tell every position player, yes, sir, I'm on it. Hey, turf's wet. What did I just say? Turf's wet. Slide what early? Boom, 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 boom. It doesn't matter. Hey, somebody's wearing our pink hat. That pink hat is not allowed outside a dugout. It's a prop. That person will be ejected. Ryan, who's wearing it down there? You got a coach on it. I already told him. Told him 2 innings ago. Like, he is just, and then, this is really cool. Then, when he goes down to the bullpen, he has to pick somebody. he's got to assign who's going to be in charge of the dugout. And if he doesn't do that, then his butt's in trouble. So he he loves this place. He loves this place, and he has continued to serve in every single way possible. And no, he is not starting on Friday nights for us, but I believe he's having a bigger impact than any start he could have on a Friday night because of what he does in that dugout, in that locker room for our team. It's been unbelievable.
What about him made him the guy you picked to do that last
So I'm going to think about how to say this the right way. How much he cares. He is just, you could not give that responsibility to somebody that just doesn't care. And so when you look about how engaged our dugout is and how they're locked in and how they're trying to help our team and getting fans involved, everything, he just cares so much. And when someone cares that much, you just want to give it to them because you know that they're going to take a great deal of pride and the good kind of pride and responsibility in it. And he's done that. And we would not be where we're at without this guy because the impact he has, it goes far beyond just on the field. It goes off the field. And we only allowed during the regular season, we're allowed 4 hours a day with the guys. That's it. That's all we get to practice, 4 hours a day. And not 4 hours every day. They have to have off days. So what's happening the other 20 hours? What's happening? Like who is helping lead and guide and build a culture and a team? And he's one of those guys that has continued to just build and make our program better, not only on the field, but up there and off. It's pretty awesome.
Nick, you had a quote after the regional last year. I think I'm going to botch it, but it was something like, the past is gone, the future is uncertain, the present is right here for you, and that's why they call it a gift. And I think you've talked about this mentality that this team has, welcomed the present, and that's all they're thinking of. So is that what they're doing here this week, and how are you noticing that? Do you remember that quote that
Do you want? Oh yeah, you botched it.
I botched it.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Do you think I remember it? Yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. I love quotes, so thank you for bringing that one up. Yeah, and especially in the day of age now in social media, this is harder than ever because a lot of times everything you say and do, it is just regurgitated over and over, and things gain traction, right? And these guys are on social media, so when that happens, it could just keep being brought up and put in your face, and just over and over and over again, right? So yes, we talk about that a lot. And even just from the mental side, I had a sports psychologist teach me something that really resonated with me. He said that people that struggle from depression, they live in the past a lot. Maybe some of the decisions and things they struggle with, that could lead to some of the struggles that they're having. And sometimes people that struggle with anxiety live in the future too much, right? Because they're just worried about what's going to happen next. And I think if we're being honest, we've all been there at some points in our life, whether it's personal, professionally, whatever, right? We've all been there. We've all thought and rehashed things that we could have done different. And, we've maybe gone down a dark hole or a spot we didn't want to be, or maybe we get too excited looking at the future. So I just feel like our job as coaches is to equip them, right? Like we're teachers. That's our job, is to teach and equip our players. So one way we do it, and you guys know this, we start every day with a quote, and that was one of our quotes. Coach Amorati does an awesome job finding quotes and things, and we just get together each day and try to get them in the right state of mind, mentally. But that is one that has stuck for us, and we just constantly remind them, because the game of baseball is hard. Life can be hard at times, and sometimes it's easy, right? Sometimes things are just going well for you. But at the same time, our ability to move on as fast as possible is so important. And just to focus on the task at hand and then just move on to the next thing. And this team has definitely embraced that. And we reminded them again of that yesterday, and we all need reminders. So that is a quote. Thanks for bringing that up. Maybe we need to put that in there this week again.
What quote did you start with today?
Good question. Let's do a quick, I'll look it up for you. See what we're talking about today. The best teams always have the most fun in whatever they're doing. So just a reminder, they better be having fun. But And I'll remind them today that I'm all about having fun, but the building block of that is number one, you have to compete. If you don't compete, you're not having fun, and I will not allow them to have fun because that is not fun. So they'll learn and understand that, and they do a great job of this, as you guys know, but the message today would just be reminding them about our competitive spirit and how it starts with that, and then while we're in that competitive mode, it can also be fun. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about like the energy of this week from the guys and some of the things you've heard the players talking about? I know you say they lead the dugout and they play a lot of leadership roles. So what have you heard, you know, them kind of talking about within that group?
So I've heard them talk about KPP and the fans, about how electric it'll be. They've mentioned that, and they've mentioned the dugout. We're having a team over my house, which is something we typically do. Multiple times a year, we just have them over our house and we feed them and just let them hang out. We'll have all the families and the kids running around, and we have a lake in the back if they want to swim or fish, and just let them all hang out. We have a pickleball court we spray painted in our cul-de-sac, so if they want to play pickleball, whatever, throw the football with the kids, jump on a trampoline, whatever, just let them just be with each other and be with us outside of just on the field. So they'll do that. I know they're going to meet with the dugout. Trevor Fitz has done a great job meeting with those guys, so I know that he's going to have a little meeting with the guys on the bench on Thursday. So I'm looking forward to seeing what more fun things they'll come up with about ways to try to help our team, whether it's the camo cap stack and then the blue one, you know, the way they did that. And then we put the cowboy hat in there. I saw that. That was good. So, but they'll do anything they can to try to help us win and help one of their teammates to be in a better spot that it's competing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be talking about.
Nick, what does Oregon State do well as a baseball team?
Everything. Like, they are legitimately as well-rounded team as like we'll face. I think they've only lost 14 games all year when you think about that. So they pitch at a high level, a super high level. They have a unique guy on the back end who can throw sidearm. They've got all the different arm slots. They defend the field well. They bunt, they steal offensively, they can score in a bunch of different ways. And like I mentioned, they have a pitching staff that really knows how to pitch. So, which is to be expected, right? Like, when you get to this point, this is what you would think. The teams that are super well-rounded are going to be able to do it, and they can do all of those things well.
Going off that, I think their two frontline guys both have a sub-3.3 ERA. What have you seen from those two?
Well, the first guy, I mean, he hadn't lost a game all year, you know, and he went through a stretch there where he didn't pitch some. You know, but he is 7-0, and the fastball moves. He's got velocity. He's got off-speed pitches, and they make it really hard on hitters. So they don't lose many games with those guys. So we'll have our hands full, much like with our guys. You know, it's very similar to the guys that we have. We don't lose a lot of games when those guys are starting. So it'll be a great matchup.
Nick, Oregon State comes in, as you know, with a lot of baseball tradition, and you've worked at a spot that has a lot. You're building your own now. Is that something that's tangible? Does it go out the window after the first pitch? I mean, how does that figure in, if at all?
Yeah, so, you know, we were just having a very similar conversation with Coach Madison and Coach Kuzi and the rest of our coaching staff just upstairs. You guys know this. Coach leads us in a Bible study every week. He's done it for 8 years, and we just talk baseball. We pick his brain, we tell stories, and we were just talking about how, you know, this year the West Coast is maybe not as highly represented, you know, in the postseason as it's been, especially when Coach was coaching, you know. So, you know, as every year it goes and flows and up and down, you know, the thing I've always said is you want to have guys in your program that have experience, because once that game starts, they don't remember that, and they don't know that I competed against Oregon State against Michael Conforto, right? Like, I remember playing them in Omaha back in 2013, and it's like, well, Michael Conforto's not playing for them the same way Evan White's not in our lineup anymore. You know what I mean? To where you got to go at it like team versus team. So yes, have they been to Omaha? Have they won national championships? Yes, they have. You know, but unfortunately, or fortunately for us, those guys aren't playing on this team. This is an Oregon State team that's trying to create their own, you know, identity and their own legacy, much like we are. You know, the thing that I have peace about with our team, and I think it's shown so far, is we do have a lot of guys back from a year ago that have been in this position. So I would say that I would lean more, that plays maybe a bigger factor than maybe what some other teams or programs have done maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, is maybe some of the guys that you have in their program. And they have some really good players that have experience as well.
Your team has been incredible in rallying huge deficits, small deficits, whatever. It's that opening game to win the first one so you don't have to scramble as much. We just comment on how vital winning the first one is to put the pressure on someone else.
Yeah, you definitely, that's obviously something that every team in the Supers want to do, you know, to where you just feel like, all right, now we got 2 games to win 1, as opposed to I got to win the next 2. So it's absolutely important. And, you know, in a lot of ways, it's much like an SEC weekend to where you're trying to win every single weekend, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you win the first one and then you win the next 2, or if you win the first one, lose the middle one, and win the next one. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you've got to win the series. So however that goes. And when you look at our team this year, we've done it both ways. We've done it both ways. So to be able to draw from that success, you know, in those experiences, whether we don't win the first game and now we got to win the next 2, we've been there, done that. Or we win the first one, we lose the second one, then you got to win the third one. So the piece I have as a coach is we've been through both sides of that and against really good teams. And we've done it either way against really good teams. So the team will be able to draw from that experience.
One more, guys, and then we'll get Grant up here.
You talked about earlier this year about being able to score in a variety of ways. How does, it's kind of loaded, and I know we can go down a rabbit hole on
Yeah,
this,
sure.
but how does it present itself, maybe on the small ball side of things? Is it as easy as Ryan getting on early and like he did that, you know, went first to third pretty quickly the other day? How difficult is it to take a, you know, bat out of a big hitter's hand to have him bunt somebody over, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, this team is very unselfish. And, you know, there's a lot of times that you've seen us call offensive timeouts, right? We're one of the few teams I've realized even that we play against, not as many teams use those, and you get 3. So a lot of times we'll, especially with me being at third base, with the opportunity to talk to the entire coaching staff. So we all talk first. If you've ever seen, it's been scripted. The 3 of us will talk before we talk to the players, and we get the players' feedback, and we get the input, and then we put the play on. So there's a lot of things that go into that. And when we're trying to decide what is the best way, it is actually a really good feeling as a coach to know that, hey, we could do a lot of things here. We could bunt. We could fake bunt steal, we could steal, we could hit and run, we could slash hit and run. There's just a lot of things that we can do. We can hit, we can just go hit, we can do fake breaks, we can put fake steals, we can try to move infielders. So we're setting up all those things in those timeouts. And as a coach, that's a good feeling when you feel like you have options. I don't know if there anybody here that is like coached or just in life in general, when you just don't feel like you have a lot of options and you feel stuck. It's not a good feeling, you know? So also I think that provides pressure on our opponents. So as a coach, yes, we're about to face some really good arms, right? And we've done that all year. And we've been able to, and we've had to score in a bunch of different ways. So this week has been a great week of practice so far. Yesterday, we went through all of our plays at first base, all of our offensive plays at second base, like just reshaping and trying to sharpen those skills to be prepared. So when if and when it does come up, that our players are prepared, and we want them to feel prepared. So the ability to score in a bunch of different ways, I fully expect that to be on display this weekend, especially against a really good pitching staff.